Cape Media Center, building community through media.
Bass River separates the towns of Yarmouth and Dennis. It's the longest river estuary on Cape Cod. It's 7.1 miles long, but it is the natural border for the two towns. Friends of Bass River was started by three lifelong residents of the Bass River area to oversee the health of Bass River, because Bass River is quite ill, actually. It needs a 48% reduction in nitrogen for the majority of the river, and from here north, it needs a 70% reduction in nitrogen. So it's quite ill. It's so ill, in fact, to the north of this area, Mass Division of Marine Fisheries designated it as prohibited for shellfishing and fishing. So it's a very important project we're working on. The main project we've worked on since 2020, when I joined the organization, has been the Upper Bass River Headwaters Restoration, which is this area right here. We have about $9.66 million in hand to complete an $11 million restoration. 57.2 acres of retired cranberry bogs, dramatically undersized culverts, and those two projects are going to total about $11 million and will make a dramatic improvement in the water quality. When I was young, this Crab Creek area was about 18 feet wide, and the last time I measured it, it was 64 feet wide. So because of the velocity of water coming through, we have a lot of erosion and undercut. Trees are falling into the creek, so we'll solve that problem with a 60-foot wide bridge, which will solve the velocity problems. It will allow a lot more water to get up into Mill Pond, the most impaired portion of the river, and allow water to get out of Mill Pond. So it'll make it much more healthy. So permitting is underway. I suspect that later next year, we will have the shovels in the ground and they'll begin the project. So I'm very excited about that. We have one of our other non-restoration projects, but it's equally important, is we have a base scallop aquaculture project that's in our second year. We partnered with the town of Yarmouth, and this year we partnered with the town of Dennis as well. We put 100,000 base scallops in Bass River after we rolled them out at Packet Landing. Another 100,000 this year, and we plan on 200,000 next year. Base scalloping was always a really bountiful activity for the community. As far back as 1983, I scalloped with my dad in Bass River, and we would get our limit in 2 drags. There are virtually no scallops there anymore, so we're going to reestablish that, which I'm very excited about. One of the first projects we initiated in 2020 was a water testing program for the entire river. We have 7 locations on Bass River, starting at Mill Pond and going all the way out to the West Dennis Beach. It's staffed by volunteer water testing team members, and they begin in May, and they test water right through September. And it's critical for us to understand what's happening with the overall health of Bass River. We've been watching the overall condition of the Bass River Route 28 bridge for at least 5 years now, and it is in dire condition. MassDOT and the AA Wool Company have just begun reconstruction this month of November. It's going to be a long project, but it's critically important. I understand from inspectors last summer that they were only this far from condemning the entire bridge, which would have been really horrible for the communities of Yarmouth and Dennis and a good portion of the Cape. So the beginning construction, what they informed us at our symposium 2 weeks ago was that this project would continue into 2031. The amount of impact from that for all of us is pretty significant. The new bridge construction and the new bridge design has about 60% fewer pilings holding the bridge up. By removing them, we'll have greater volume of water be able to flow from the south to the north. So it will overall improve the water quality of the river. I like to think of the Friends of Bass River as the voice of Bass River, because we're there overlooking its health every day. There are so many areas that we can help improve the water quality for Bass River. That's what we work on. I consider Bass River to be the crown jewel of the town of Yarmouth. And so many people rely on it for recreation, for income, for just the beauty of it, the views from their homes. And it was definitely going downhill because of all the nitrogen that would come from individual homes, septic systems. It creates a lot of really dramatic algae blooms that block the watershed. They also they smell. So it's a very significantly important project for us to undertake because we're protecting the future of Bass River for the next generations.
By now, drivers in Yarmouth have probably seen enough signs like these to last them a lifetime. The orange and black combo would appear to be the color code of impending doom for anyone trying to get somewhere in a hurry. But for those of us who keep in regular contact with our inner 5-year-old, seeing and hearing all of these earth-moving vehicles, steamrollers, and people in hard hats is the best thing ever. Truth told, the town of Yarmouth has taken on the massive task of rerouting residential sewer lines throughout town. And what we're seeing is phase 1 of this endeavor.
This is really starting from scratch in Yarmouth. We've got zero infrastructure in place, so we are literally putting brand new sewer lines in the roads. So we're right now going down Route 28. We're digging down at some areas depths of 30 feet, putting in 30-inch sewer lines. And that's going to go basically all throughout town. Phase 1 is primarily Route 28 and along the shore on Shoreside Drive. But you're going to be really completely brand new infrastructure. So you're digging up the roads, putting in the sewer lines, and then putting in the pump stations throughout town.
The phase 1 of this project carries a price tag of $207 million, which comes from the state revolving funds overseen by the Department of Environmental Protection. It also carries a multi-year duration of detours and delays, but there is a light at the end of this tunnel.
This is going to take approximately 3 years to complete. Once it's completed, then everybody that has a connection available for sewer will be able to hook in, and we'll start operating right off the bat.
As for the destination of the flow coming from these pipes, we head over to 99 Buck Island Road, where we find the footprint to the eventual wastewater treatment plant. When we stopped by in early October of 2025, they were only about 6 months into the construction, putting in the subsurface structures and soil anchors. Essentially, they're laying down the foundation for what will be an enormous operation.
Once all the infrastructure is in place, anything that goes down the drain, whether it's the sink, shower, or toilet, will end up here at this brand new facility.
And creating a system in which all of the effluent material from the new pipes of the impactful areas like Route 28 and South Shore Drive makes its way here will be quite the mission accomplished.
It is, quite an engineering feat. You have the entire town of Yarmouth, and like I said, most of it is gravity fed, so it's all going to start uphill and kind of come downhill to where our treatment facility is located.
As a grade 6 operator, Ryan Chase has achieved the state's highest level of certification to be qualified to take on a project of this magnitude. But it was more than just his pedigree that compelled him to pursue this.
It is pretty involved. There's a lot of different aspects to it, some biology, chemical additions, and there's a lot that goes into it, but it's a pretty neat project. One of the reasons I got into it was I'm a lifelong resident here on Cape Cod, and again, you look at how much work in this nature is going on, and I thought this would be really kind of neat to be involved in the ground floor of sewer expansion on Cape Cod.
But as neat as it may be, Ryan Chase is not only the project's manager, he's also the public face of it. And this is only phase 1 of an 8-phase endeavor, which is set to take 40 years to complete. Trying to convince residents and business owners who've already been impacted by the detours and delays that it will somehow all work out in the end is a difficult task.
When we talk to the residents of the town, the inconvenience of the construction is probably our biggest concern. It is kind of tough to go through at first, but it's going to be a really good thing, and I think generations further down the line will look back to this and say, we were the ones that really, took the bull by the horns and decided that this needed to be done.
Spanning 2 equinoxes and 1 solstice each year since 2014, the game of kickball plays on here at the Johnny A. Kelly Recreation Area in Dennis. It's one of several co-ed activities offered up by the Cape Adult Sports League, and on Wednesday nights in the spring, summer, and fall, it's one of the most popular. Also, if it reminds anyone of how much fun it was to play back in grade school gym class, all the better.
It's kickball, something you played when you're in elementary school, a lot like baseball. I had a good friend invite me to it, and it was just a surprise. Came in, and it was a league of ladies and gentlemen. I first started about 5 years ago. We were kind of the misfit group, and we've been together ever since.
It's not necessarily a contact sport, aside from possibly getting hit by the big red ball. There is some running and throwing involved, but no one here is trying to show off their athletic prowess. It's just best to stay loose and limber and avoid a trip to the injured list.
Anyone can play, and you kind of play to your level and you figure out what you're capable of doing. I think that everyone needs to work the next day, and that's kind of the goal, is to not get hurt. We have injuries here and there, but anyone can play, so you don't have to be an athlete to play.
On any given night, there are 3 to 4 fields in use, all at the same time, with the first round of games starting around 6:45 and the second around 7:45. And it's all friendly competition taking place, because more than anything, this is a social event for everyone involved.
It's fun to get out and get out of the house. You know, I'm married with 2 kids, and I bring my son with me to most games, and then we can just go hang out and afterwards and get a bite to eat with people we play kickball with and other teams.
Of course, all of this takes organizing and scheduling, and that doesn't happen without the hard work of Sean Conway, the league's dedicated commissioner.
Sean's fantastic. He organizes everything, and he also plays on my team, which is really fun. I like that he stays involved and also plays. He's a very sporty guy, and he loves the competition.
The league is co-ed, and on the night that we stopped by, there seemed to be plenty of women on the field. But it's not always the case. In fact, if they were going to put out an APB for anything, it would be for more women to sign up and play.
We have always 3 or 4 women on a team, and usually we're short women, so it'd be great if we could get some more out here to play. He's always looking for women to play, and usually we sub for each other if we're short somebody. And I think that, like I said, anyone can play, and it's really fun, it's social. You meet a lot of nice people, and you also meet the people on the other teams. He uses a bar after the games and sets up a social so we can go and eat and have a good time and get to know people.
And that social component has worked out in the best way possible for several of the players involved. The league has boasted over 20 marriages as a result of having met up at these games. Pretty impressive love connection numbers for a nostalgic kids game.
When I came into this league, I was a little hesitant, and I've actually met the love of my life at this league about 5 years ago. I got down on one knee about 4 weeks ago, and she said yes. And so it's, for those type of situations, it's just a dream come true. For the day-to-day, it's just great to break up the week with normal people. There's some competitiveness, some people like to have fun, and you just find your right group and you just jive.
Barnstable Comedy Club is a local community theater in Barnstable Village, and we do 4 shows per year, which each show has 10 production dates. We do comedies, we do musicals, we do drama type productions.
The Comedy Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our goal is to get the community together and volunteer together, work together, and just be a place where people can learn more about the theater. And if they already know about the theater, it gives them an opportunity to act and sing and do all the things that they've always wanted to do.
The building was built in 1912, but the comedy club actually started in 1922, so we have been around for 104 seasons. My dad was the president here back in the 60s. It has some downtime during its 104 years in existence. During World War II, it was dark, and also during COVID, it was dark. But it's been in the community here for that long, and the villagers themselves had put their heart and soul into this organization. I think that's why it exists so long. They're not paid. They just do it for the love, because of the love of the theater, is what I think.
This village is magical, Barnstable Village. Everybody will tell you that. That's from the village. And I think that they're always looking for a place to get together, and they see their friends, and, and they just, it's the magic of the village.
The volunteers are the most important part of this club. Without them, we would not be here. We are 100% volunteer. We rely on
anybody, and whether they're local, whether they're off Cape, whether they're friends or cousins or whatever, we rely on everybody to make this place run. They are the key to our success. You can go to our website, barnstablecomedyclub.org. You can, see what type of opportunities we have. Give us a phone call. We'll make sure somebody calls you back. Come to one of our shows. We've got so many of them, and meet some of the people that are here. And once we get your name and your phone number or your email address, consider yourself a volunteer. We will find something for you to do. I think that theater is a really important outlet for people because it's not work. It's something where people can play, if you will, and it gives them an opportunity it's supposed to be healthy for your soul. I mean, granted, it can be very stressful putting on a play, but I think it's just a way to help your soul.
I know we've been around for 104 years, but even still, people in the village somehow don't know we're here because we're called the Barnstable Comedy Club, but we're not just a comedy club, we're a community theater, and we do all kinds of plays. Mm-hmm.
The Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance is a nonprofit. We started in 1991, and the idea was that fishermen were concerned about their livelihoods and fish depletions, and they didn't feel like they had a voice at the regulatory table. So the Fishermen's Alliance started to give fishermen an opportunity to have a voice both at the local, state, and federal level, and we spent a lot of time advocating for habitat protections and sound policy decisions, and we also championed for a seat at the New England Fishery Management Council. So for the last 30 years, we've been working to really advocate and to lift up small boat community-based fishermen here on Cape Cod. So the main mission is to join community members, scientists, and fishermen together so that we can promote sustainable fishing practices and healthy, vibrant fishing communities. And so we really support a healthy marine environment. We want to make sure that the regulations match the science and that will allow young men and women to continue for generations to come. We also believe in cooperative research, so engaging fishermen with scientists in our region so that we can have a better understanding of our ocean environment. And we're really proud to work with community members and to do economic development programs such as training the next generation of young men and women, or also helping feed insecure people on the Cape through regional food banks. Some of the programs I'm really passionate about is our Small Boats, Big Science. So that allows scientists from our region to come and speak to community members about the latest and greatest advancements in science and how they work with the fishing industry to understand our changing climate and our environment. So that allows community members to ask scientists what's going on, but also allows fishermen in the room to have a better understanding of the ocean environment that they're fishing in. We also have Meet the Fleet, which I love. It allows a local chef and a fisherman to talk about a particular species. So the fisherman will give a day in the life of what they went after, how the gear type works to harvest a particular species, and then the chef will prepare a delicious sample for the community members to try. And so it allows them to ask the chef how they prepare something, what type of ingredients, so that they can feel confident at home to buy local and then feed their families local species. We have such diversity of seafood here on the Cape, and so encouraging community members to try new species that they might not have had before is a helpful way of supporting local fishermen as species continue to move into our waters. We also have a fishermen's training program. So that is something that we advocated for many years in DC through the Young Fishermen's Development Act. So that provides free training to young men and women to get into the fishing industry. And we have worked last year with the Brazilian community. We've also worked with high school students. We've offered kind of advanced training such as welding, but it's an opportunity to get more young men and women or new entrants into the fishery and to show that it's a viable way of life. I think fishing supports both part-time and full-time workers here on the Cape, and so finding ways to bolster that is really important here. Another program we have is our Small Boats Big Taste program, and so that started in 2020 when there was food insecurity challenges exacerbated by the pandemic. And so our goal was to help feed people in need through local regional food banks, but also allow fishermen to continue staying on the water. So our first was our haddock chowder, which was a great success. And then ultimately we moved on to a Provençal fish stew, which is made with local winter skate. And that's a tomato-based, dairy-free stew. It's delicious. And then we have a clam chowder. And so the purpose was really that if you were at a hotel and you needed to feed your family and all you had was a hot plate or a microwave, you were able to feed your family a nutritious, delicious meal. And so we worked closely with the Greater Boston Food Bank, with capabilities and other local regional food banks here on Cape Cod to make sure that we were helping feed people who needed it. And that's something that we're really passionate about. At the core of the Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance is our healthy marine environment. We think it's really important to have healthy, vibrant fishing communities, but also a healthy ocean ecosystem. And some of that is in terms of sensible fisheries regulations and policies, such as habitat protection. We're very passionate about Atlantic herring, which is a forward species that's a critical link in our food system. We also believe that promoting working waterfronts and giving access to fishermen to be able to have a successful business will ensure that young men and women want to get into the industry and see a viable future. Something that I'm most proud of at the Fishermen's Alliance is making sure that fishermen's voices are heard. Fishermen, especially small boat community-based fishermen on Cape Cod, are like farmers where they have to choose to go fishing on good weather days. And it often means that they are having to compete with large corporations who can send lawyers on their behalf. And so my role is really making sure that fishermen feel confident that when they're going fishing, they are able to, feel that someone has their back at that regulatory table. So to get involved with the Fishermen's Alliance, you can visit our website at capecodfishermen.org. We definitely encourage folks to email us directly if they'd like to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers. We do have a peer host program where we have people that educate the public about commercial fishing at the Chatham Fish Pier, and that might be another way for someone who wants to just learn more about the commercial fishing industry. Commercial fishing is an important part of our blue economy here on Cape Cod, and if people do not know, we have 15 towns on Cape Cod, and each of those towns has a vibrant working waterfront and commercial fishing industry. I think oftentimes people may not realize that many fishermen are from multi-generational families. Their grandparents have done this, and they want to continue to pass on that tradition to future generations. This industry is strong both historically but also currently, and it's an opportunity for young men and women or people who are interested in the industry to be involved. We are excited at the Fishermen's Alliance because we are ensuring that there is a future for commercial fishermen so that they can feel confident in their business planning and be able to successfully harvest and provide local delicious seafood to their community members. I think many fishermen take a lot of pride in that, and that's something that we are always supportive here at Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance.
I'm Jen Pina, producing artistic director here at Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre. Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre is a multi-generational, educational community theatre in our 74th season. We were founded by Betty Bope. She was an educator here and in Boston, and she founded what was then the Harwich Junior Theatre at the Exchange Hall in Harwich Center in 1952 with their first show, Cinderella. It grew from there, from the Harwich Junior Theatre, which was mostly producing shows during the summer and for young audiences and families, to where we are now, which is multi-generational theater with shows for audiences of all ages, with up to 10 fully produced shows happening year-round every year, multiple partnerships with other local artists and performers, so we have special events throughout the year and a really robust education program. So we have classes year-round through 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall sessions from ages 4 through adult. We have camps while school is on break during school vacations and summer vacation. We have classes from creative drama through Broadway Kids, through singing for the stage, creative drama on the spectrum, scene study for adults. It just goes on and on and on. I saw my first play here when I was 5. It was Emil and the Detectives. And my older brother, Joel, was in the play, and I was on the edge of my seat. The theater went dark, and there was this sort of warm glow, and we were a family that read a lot of books, so for me, storytelling was just a part of the magical part of the day. And to see this story come to life and have my brother be in it, I thought, I want to do that. And then through the years, I've played a number of different roles here. I mean, in plays, but also had multiple jobs here. So I've done everything from children's theater to junior players, our teen ensemble program, both being in it and teaching it, to Shakespeare and some of the classics, to experimental theater. And I've been an actor, a director, choreographer. I've been an usher and a house manager. I've done really almost every job, and now producing artistic director as well. I'm so fortunate to work with the folks that I do here. We have a very small, incredibly talented, hardworking, and dedicated full-time staff. And then we have this huge team of contractors who are either teaching artists or production team members that really reach out into the whole community. We're just so fortunate. And then beyond that, volunteers, a volunteer board, volunteer front of house folks, people who do all sorts of things for us, and then our business partners and sponsors too. So in that way too, we really are a community theater. For more information about volunteering, taking a class, auditioning for a show, coming to see a show, anything else you want, you can walk in the door. I would say my door is always open, but there's not even a door on my office. So come on in and say hello. And you can look at our website, capecodtheatrecompany.org. We are a true community theater, so we're multi-generational in every way you can think of. We've been around for multiple generations. We have multiple generations who are on the staff, on the board, in our classes, in a play at any given time. Multiple generations come to see our shows. We've got grandparents, parents, grandkids all together. And we could not do it without volunteers. We're here for that purpose. We're here as a community organization, a community theater, and the community part's really important.
Cape Media Center, building community through media. Cape Media Center, building community through media.